Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado Springs Real Estate Authority. Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb's a pilot, and Barb Schlinker enjoys all that Colorado Springs has to offer with her amazing team. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air the Real Estate Voice show every Saturday, and if you cannot listen to the whole show, it's still available on YouTube. Just search Barb Schlinker, SCHLINKER. And you can also find it on almost all of the podcast platforms like iHeart Radio, Apple, etc. Barb, still a red hot real estate market. Listeners tell me that they love your show because they learn so much about buying and selling homes, and it gives them information to help them succeed with their real estate investment. And that's what it is. It's an investment. You may live there, but it is an investment. What are we going to be covering today?
Well, thank you, Richard. And it's great to hear from you again. You know what? We're going to talk about some really good topics. The first one is kind of on everybody's minds. In fact, I think a lot of people are saying we're in a real estate bubble. We are definitely seeing more properties hit the market, but some of that is seasonality. And of course, not every home has a bidding war. Depends on the house, depends on the condition, depends on the price. So we're going to kind of hit on what's happening. But in most cases, buyers are having to compete to get houses. And then the next topic we're going to cover is why real estate investors are still buying homes in the Colorado Springs area as buy and hold rentals. These aren't flippers. These are people buying to hold for the long term. And then we'll also talk about the magic of pricing your home to get top dollar. That is probably one of the most important decisions you make besides choosing an agent and getting your house ready for sale. Those three things are absolutely key to succeed in selling your home. And the last topic I want to cover is kind of more buyer leaning, but it's also good for sellers. And we're going to talk about the top 8 things. I added one, so it's 8 things now that sellers love to get from buyers when they make an offer. And we'll cover our hot new listings. So you ready? Let's go.
I am ready. And I have to tell you about the hot new listings. That is one of your favorite parts. I saw a home there a couple of weeks ago. I loved it. And then you had 175 people over the course of a weekend. Boy, you know how to market. I'll tell you that. Now, Barb, you've mentioned that many people are concerned that we're in a real estate bubble. They could face a market correction. They're worried about that. Even the Federal Reserve chairman is warning of another real estate bubble, but this market still seems to be on fire. Tell us about that. How does that reconcile?
Well, I mean, when they use the word bubble, I don't think I'll ever see again in my lifetime what happened in 2008. It was basically, in my view, an anomaly. What they were doing was letting everybody with a pulse and some people without a pulse get a loan. And all you had to do was tell the lender, hey, I make $50,000 a month and you can go out and buy any home you want as long as you had a credit score above 560, which is a low score. So it drove prices up because interest rates were not really that low. They were higher than they are right now, but it was so easy for buyers to get loans that it just drove prices up. People were like, oh my God, I can tell them I make this much. We'll find a way to make it work. And the prices rose. The problem was it was like a house of cards. Those people ultimately could not afford the payment. A lot of them were getting these loans where you would enter at a low payment and 2 years later it would adjust. And that adjustment more than doubled their house payment and they couldn't qualify anymore. So that's why we had this big meltdown take place. And the stock market got taken with it just because they sold these loans as quality loans and they really weren't. And anyway, bailout happened, market correction happened, lots of foreclosures. It was kind of a mess. But now the lending guidelines have changed. It's much more balanced as far as the people getting loans actually have to be able to afford to make the payments. What a concept.
Right.
But we're still seeing very low inventory. When I checked yesterday, there were only 625 single family homes available in 3 counties and 699 altogether, including patio homes, condos, townhomes. That's a 53% drop in inventory compared to 2 years ago, yet the number of sales are up by 8%. So we really do still have a supply issue. We have a low supply of homes, even though a lot of people were predicting, oh my gosh, it's with the interest rates rising, it's going to affect the buyer population. But if you look back and really, kind of expand out the timeline and look at what interest rates were over the long term, the average interest rate was probably hovering around 7%. And right now we're just under 5%. So it's a bargain, even though people have gotten very accustomed to very low prices in the interest rate prices in the past couple of years. That was on sale, and now it's more of a normal market. The other factor that really plays into this is that the millennial generation are stepping in and they're buying. They are ages 27 to 41. They've got jobs. They can afford to buy a house. They're starting families. And it's a much bigger population than the boomer by 7%. So all these things are playing into the market right now. A 30-year fixed conventional right now is hovering at 4.9%. To get the government loans, VA, FHA, it's less than that, maybe 3.75%. But the rising interest rates, they may or may not affect the supply of homes. I don't know. The question is, the part of the reason for the low supply is that if somebody is going to move to another home and they currently have a very, very low interest rate and they need to buy another home on the other end, if they don't have to do it, would you sell your house with a 3% mortgage rate and go buy a new house with a 5% mortgage rate? Unless you really have to sell, it's probably just not going to happen. So I think that plays into the low supply. And so really only those that are motivated sellers are probably selling right now. But even with this rate of 4.9%, if you put 20% down right now, the average price is $539,000 for a single family home. Can you believe that, Richard?
That is amazing. That is amazing.
It's a lot of money. But if you buy a home in that price range, put 20% down, your payment's going to be $2,400. But if you rent a home like that, your payment will be maybe $30 less. So it makes so much sense to own it and be able to enjoy the equity increasing over the long term. Another reason real estate is not going to crash is the term that I learned from Ryan, your producer. He's a millennial. I said, what is FOMO? What's that mean? And he clued me in. It's fear of missing out. I'm like, oh, okay. All you younger people like to text with all these acronyms. And anyway, so part of the issue is there's people going, oh my God, I better buy a house before it's unaffordable, right? It's that fear of missing out. I have a quote here from Warren Buffett that says, people start being interested in something because it's going up, not because they understand it or anything else. Is that true, Richard?
I hate to admit it, but I think that is true. I think the FOMO comment is true as well. It doesn't just apply to millennials. They put a name on it, but I think that's part of who all of us are.
Right. So if you are thinking of making a move and you want to get the most money when you sell your home, that's one of the things that we specialize in. We also help buyers as well. Give us a call at 719-301-3900. And selling a home is a huge decision. You really want somebody that knows what to do. I just checked my stats. Actually, my average year to date went up to $37,573. That's my average this year, if you can believe that.
That is amazing.
Over asking price. Okay. Average price is $539. We command on average more than 6% over asking price, while a typical agent only gets you 2% over asking price. That's 4% more in your pocket. So would it be worth hiring somebody that really knows what they're doing and knows how to get you the most money? Richard?
Sure would. $34,000 over the asking price. You're amazing, Barb. You're listening to The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're interested in selling or want to buy, give Barb a call, 719-301-3900. We're talking, Barb, about the signs of a transition from a hot real estate market to a less robust market. Tell us more about the reasons we are not in a real estate bubble.
Well, one thing that's very interesting is investors are buying in this market. They're buying buy and hold single family homes to rent out, right? And that's what we're going to cover on the next topic. So even though there's a low supply of homes, there's a high demand for homes to rent. And even though we've seen a surge in interest rates, I think if it goes up super high, it may affect the kind of the bottom lower price buyers because they may not be able to afford it. But if you really look at interest rates over the long term, they peaked out, I think in the 1980s, they were up around, I don't know, 17, 18%. But on average, over the long term, it's been hovering around 7%. Plus, Colorado has a net migration of people moving into the state by probably about 7% increase every single year. So if you'd like to know what a buyer will pay for your home, buyers are getting more picky in this market right now. If you want to know how to get your home show ready, what to do, what not to do to get your house ready for sale, give us a call at 719-301-3900. Richard?
You're listening to The Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker, The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. Name of the show. The business is Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you are thinking of making a move right now, or maybe even into the summer, perhaps even longer, give Barb a call now so that she can help you get ready. 719-301-3900, a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing why real estate investors are buying up homes in the Colorado Springs area. You don't want to miss that. Stay tuned. Back after this.